Hello everyone. In the New Age spiritual and astrological communities, the Mercury Retrograde has a bad reputation. In fact, it's become kind of a joke. Anytime everything goes haywire, we usually ask, is Mercury in retrograde again? So it's understandable that most of us has reservations relative to this particular planetary alignment. We're kind of torn between wanting to know that they're coming up so we can prepare, and dreading them and not even really wanting to know whether they're coming or not, just because we fear them so much. But have no fear. Mercury retrograde is only difficult if you don't know what to expect, and if you don't know how to turn those energies around so they benefit you. You create your reality completely. What this means is, everything that is happening outside of you isn't actually imposing itself on your reality. Instead, you opt into activating the vibration of it. That's what you did before coming into this life. You chose the influence of the planets that were in a specific alignment when you were born, in the same way that you chose the influence of the parents you chose to come into in this life. You knew that this particular energy would help you to realize your own expansion, the one which you were looking for. You picked the specific astrological arrangement of your life experience in the same way that someone would pick an arrangement of specific food items off a buffet table. The planets influence us, but it benefits us to think of this influence more as an offering. When the planets shift, the energy being offered from them to life on Earth also changes. And some of these shifts and cycles are particularly intense and prone to create contrasts for life on Earth. We can either let that energy hit us and suffer from it, kind of like being pounded by waves in an ocean, or we can learn how to get on top of those waves and surf them and use them to our advantage. The retrograde is in fact an illusion. It happens because of the position of Earth. About 3 or 4 times a year, relative to the planet Mercury, what happens is that the rotation of our Earth seems to be going quicker than the rotation of Mercury around the Sun. And so just like you were driving on a freeway, and you pulled up next to a semi, and then you were accelerating quicker than the semi, an optical illusion occurs, where the semi seems to stop and then reverse in movement. In actuality, both of you are traveling in the same direction. But the optical illusion is that one of you is going forward and the other is reversing. This is what is occurring during the Mercury retrograde. It appears as if the planet Mercury goes retrograde or reverses back through the zodiac. This is really important to understand that the retrograde is actually an optical illusion. Why? Because the Mercury retrograde is all about confronting our illusions. Illusions are anything we suffer from. It's the things that the ego has erected in front of the truth of who we really are. So when we don't have resolution relative to thoughts, ideas, people, or events in the past, they will resurface so you can integrate them. This resurfacing, this purging, is all what Mercury retrograde is about. This is why Mercury retrogrades can make it feel as if you are crazy and everyone you know has gone crazy. Mercury is also the planet of communication, so communication between you and other people, as well as between you and yourself, can go completely awry. So you can understand why we talk in the spiritual community about Mercury retrogrades like we do, I'm going to explain some of the things you are likely to experience during a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrogrades are famous for affecting electronic equipment, causing travel delays and cancellations, influencing breakdowns in communication, such as things getting lost in translation, pieces of information going missing, the inability to finish sentences, arguments arising out of nowhere with seemingly no provocation, the inability to form a coherent thought. Retrogrades can create some serious confusion. It also causes indecision. You may notice things getting lost, and luck may seem to be against you. In fact, Mercury retrograde can be the planetary manifestation of Murphy's Law, meaning that it can feel as if everything that can go wrong is going wrong. It is famous for causing delays and postponements in all areas of life, and this feeling of fighting upstream can lead to a sensation of severe restlessness and frustration. Mercury also particularly affects a lot of industries like publishing, writing, editing, advertising, any kind of sales, public relation, and anything to do with transport like airlines, post office, and cabs. So if you have to interact with any of these industries, you can expect some mix-ups to occur. Mercury can also be a particular time of difficulty, or should we say opportunity, for anyone who enjoys control. If you are a person who needs to feel as if your life is neatly organized in a predictable way, Mercury retrograde is going to come in like a tornado and not so gently turn things upside down. Okay, so the good news is you can ride out this tornado and use it to dig up things you have buried. Mercury retrograde offers us a huge energetic push to re-examine areas of our life that are not benefiting us. Mercury retrograde is perhaps the best at enhancing self-reflection. This is the time to revisit things which are not healed about your past or about your current now. It's a time to tie up loose ends, to finish projects you've started, and to revisit those things which you've been avoiding. The Mercury retrograde is our opportunity to learn how to allow and to learn how to go with the flow. Because let's face it, if you try to approach the Mercury retrograde any other way, then you will be suffering. It will feel like destruction instead of like clearing away the clutter. We all go through cycles in our lives. It would benefit you to think of the Mercury retrograde as a cocooning. It's our time to withdraw our energies back in towards ourselves and to revisit all of those unhealed things and purify them so that when the planet Mercury goes direct again, meaning that it's appearing from the standpoint of Earth to move forward again through the zodiac, that we can allow ourselves to move forward, kind of like a butterfly coming out of this cocoon period. What this means is, don't expect yourself to be too productive during the Mercury retrograde. This is a time to nurture yourself and nurture others, to be kind to yourself and to be kind to others, and to take care of those things which are preventing you from moving forward. The gift of the Mercury retrograde is the gift of inner revelation. This is why it causes so much upheaval. Because we all know that the greatest inner revelation happens on the heels of our life being uprooted, which is the only reason the Mercury retrograde causes this kind of upheaval. It's to help you with the gift of inner revelation. So here are some great tips which will help you to not only survive the Mercury retrograde, but to also be able to use it to your benefit. Number 1, don't take things personally. Communication is on the fritz. We all have our shadow aspects surfacing right now, and so projection is at an all-time high. People will say things they don't mean during this time, and if you can walk into your experiences with other people knowing that in advance, you are much less likely to be hurt by other people's often bizarre behavior. 2, pay very close attention to what you say and how you communicate. This is a good time to practice speaking from the heart. It's a good time to practice being very deliberate about what you want to put into the world. People will spin your words and use them against themselves during this time, and misinterpretations are likely. We can teach ourselves how to check our words against our own sense of integrity before we say them, and reread our letters before we send them, which is a very beneficial thing to train ourselves to do for the rest of the year, even when Mercury is not in retrograde. Number 3, practice the art of allowing. Practice the art of going with the flow. It will help a great deal if you maintain the awareness of what to expect during the Mercury retrograde. For example, remind yourself to expect delays. This will help you to release resistance to the unplanned upheaval of what you intended to do. You will feel much less like the world is against you, and because you've changed the meaning of what you're experiencing, you won't suffer. Do you know how much more relaxed you'd be if you knew computers were going to shut down, or that the plane would be delayed? You'd probably pack an extra book or movie and take some time to just be where you are. It can actually be enjoyable to have the experience of being the one who is feeling calm and at peace as you are watching the chaos go on around you. It also means that you will be much more capable of helping those who are caught in the storm of it. 4, I understand that you can't put your life on hold. But it's a smart idea not to make any big deal decisions, make any big purchases, or start any brand new projects during the Mercury retrograde. If you have to make big purchases, make sure that you have warranties. And never enter into contracts with people without reading the small print. Communication is a mess during these periods, and people, including yourself, are prone to changing their minds. Make sure you ask all the questions you can think of and get as much information as you can before making any big decisions, if you have to, during this time. 5. Take time to finish the projects you've already started. Tie up loose ends and reorganize your life. This is a great time to clear out the clutter. So make sure that you make a list of the things that are undone, that need to come to resolution, so you can go ahead and cross them one by one off your list. 5. This is a great time to get together with people from your past to heal old wounds. It's also a good time to revisit old issues that are part of your current relationship. It is a time of closure. If these people from your past haven't come forward to you already during the retrograde, reach out to them. Say what needs to be said, so you can both find peace. And if you can, find time to reminisce and laugh as well. Just about the only type of communication that does go well during Mercury retrograde is communication that facilitates healing between us and people and circumstances from our past. 6. Look at what the universe is trying to show you. It will be pushing you in unusual directions. So if you are on one path, it is highly likely that the universe will push you towards another path. Instead of resisting that and trying to rush your way back to the original path you intended, instead, sit back and develop an attitude of curiosity. Just observe what the universe might want you to be seeing. 7. Catch up with yourself. We often don't feel as if we can catch up with the very lives that we're living. Our true desires are drowned out in the hectic lifestyles that we live. The Mercury retrograde asks us to revisit our destiny. Mercury retrograde allows us to catch up with our truest desires. So re-examine your truest desires. If there are aspects of your life that aren't actually satisfying, it's time to clean house and redefine what you actually desire. Use what you've discovered from your past and what you discover about yourself during this period to form a new vision of what you want your future to look like. Do you like the path you're headed down? Now is a great time to decide to change course, and when Mercury goes direct again, it goes quickly, meaning we will be propelled towards our new vision for ourselves. 8. Back up any important information which is on your computer or any other electrical device. 9. Because delays are so much a part of the Mercury retrograde, it's important that you give yourself enough time to get where you're trying to go. This is not the time to cut things close. It's the time to step back, take things slow, and do things deliberately. 10. Really practice self-love. Because this is the cocooning phase, it is the time for you to revitalize yourself. What do you need to do for yourself in your life now? Have you been putting off some kind of self-love, some kind of treatment which would rejuvenate you, that you could put into practice now? What do you need to do in your life now so you can be proactive and productive when Mercury goes direct again? It would be a good idea for you to look back at my video titled Self-Love, the Great Shortcut to Enlightenment. This video will present you with a process which would be really great to apply to your life right now, because the energy of Mercury retrograde will enhance this particular process and make it easier for you at this time. 11. This is perhaps the most important point when it comes to the Mercury retrograde, and it is to allow your shadow aspect to surface so you can observe it, reflect on it, and integrate it. Anything that is key to us moving forward in our lives will surface during the Mercury retrograde. And what is key to us moving forward in our lives? That we don't have anything blocking our way. That means that these blocks, these shadow aspects, will surface so we can take care of them. And it is best if we jump on board and allow it. Some of us may even want to use this energy to deliberately go looking for our shadow. This means do shadow work. Search for harmful core beliefs. Express your emotions. And purge what is suppressed within you. Because of this, you would benefit by watching 2 more videos which I've done in the past. The first being how to express emotion, and the second being shadow work. These videos will help you with processes you can use to enable the Mercury retrograde to pull these suppressed sides of you out. This is a time to question everything about yourself. This is a time to question your beliefs, to find your core beliefs. This is a time for you to dig up anything which is unhealed within you. And if you don't want to dig it up, I promise you, the energy of this planetary alignment will do it for you. Let's just face it, most of us feel as if we need to control our lives. We think that controlling our lives and creating our lives are the same thing when they aren't. When we feel the need to control our lives, we want to dictate what does and does not happen in the external world. We are in a state of resistance against what is unwanted. We are at war with the world. Creating is the opposite. We are allowing towards both wanted and unwanted things, because we learn to use both unwanted and wanted things like clay. We learn to shape and mold both to our advantage. We are at peace with the world, because we see all things in the world as a gift. This is the mindset that Mercury Retrograde asks us to assume. And when we can assume and practice this mindset, we will learn how to ride the waves of our lives. We will learn how to find the eye of peace within the storm of chaos. Have a good one.